Hi everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Neha Sharma and I'm working as a UI manager. I am from India. Today I'm going to talk about Web for All. To know more about me, as I told you, I'm a full-time manager. During my weekend, I organize a community which is known as GS Lovers. It's a tech community. I'm running it from last 6 years. And if you want to know more about it, you can just go to the link meetup.com/JS Lovers. Apart from that, I do calligraphy. I do actually a lot of calligraphy. So if you are someone who loves art, you can follow me on my Instagram also. And apart from all these things, I do blogging. I do accessibility blogging on the domain A11Y tips, A11Y tips.dev, where I keep posting whatever I am learning from my experience on accessibility. And my Twitter handle is hello Neha with double H. I'm pretty active there. So after this talk, if you want to connect with me, you can just reach me here. Okay, so this is a Women's Day, and I cannot hold myself by sharing this particular this particular quote. Women who invest in themselves go further. And whosoever is watching this talk, I request you, please keep investing in yourself for your career, your personal life. Okay, moving ahead. So today's topic is Web for All, which means I'm going to talk about accessibility. But what is accessibility and why it is important? The one of the most important thing is accessibility is everyone. Whenever the people hear this term accessibility, they assume that it is only for the disabled folks, which is not true at all. Because we assume that disability is permanent by birth, but if you look at the disabilities, they are permanently, they are temporary, they are situational based also. So we cannot say that disability is by birth, and accessibility means building things only for those folks, which is absolutely not true. Whenever we are thinking about accessibility, we need to think about everyone. When I say everyone, it means everyone in the world. For example, if you are creating an application with a black background and grayish font, trust me, more than 80% of people will be having trouble in accessing your website content, reading it. And if they will try to access that in bright sun, they won't be able to read at all. So this is a small example. So experience of the web should be same for everyone and should be accessible. And especially at today's time, we are in pandemic, the whole world is struggling of COVID, and we need to understand everyone was living in alone in their houses. Everything moved digital, grocery ordering, healthcare, everything. And if these applications are not accessible, there were few applications actually they were not accessible, and the people were having a lot of trouble. And now you can imagine that what would be their situation. One important thing to take away from this slide is 70% of the disabilities are invisible. So there are folks who don't feel comfortable talking about their disabilities. There are disabilities you cannot see, but 70% of disabilities are invisible. So that is why accessibility is important. That is why we, the creator of the web, should focus on creating accessible web. Now, browser and accessibility. The question comes is how we can make sure that everything is getting access, and from browser how we can, because a lot of people assume there are so many, not assume, there are so many disabilities. So how we can make sure that people are accessing browsers, people are accessing mobile and desktop. So there are many assistive technologies available. People who use this assistive technology, they are very used to of it, so you don't need to worry about that. Like most common are keyboard, which disabled and non-disabled people keep using it. Magnification, zoom in, zoom out, everyone use it. And then there are screen readers, people use it, disabled people, and they are very used to of it. All browsers are very much go with these. So you don't need to do special thing for that unless and until you are writing a wrong code, which I'm going to discuss in further slides. So either you are on mobile, you are on desktop, you are building mobile application, or you are building desktop application websites. All you need to focus on the assistive technologies. All you need to think about, are they accessible by keyboard, zoom in, zoom out, the information is coming correctly or not. So does it require extra time and money? Yes, it does require some extra time and it does require extra money. When I say money, first I'm going to talk about it. It means it requires you to invest on some tools. There are few screen readers which are paid, for example. You might need to invest on those. Now, talking about the free, with Mac or iOS, your voiceover screen reader come free. So you might not to invest in that, but there's JAWS and other screen readers where you might need to buy them. Similarly, if you want to buy tools to help your accessibility testing, there are very good paid tools. You can invest in those also. Time, because now you need to think about accessibility. Now you need to do the accessibility testing, as well as you need to do a thorough testing of the accessibility. Designer, developer, and tester, these all three folks needs to come together for the accessibility. And that's why you need some extra time. But how we can do it? How we can make sure that our web is available for all? As a developer, the first thing we need to focus is write semantic code. This is the one and the most, I would say, a most underrated rated point when we talk about accessibility. The first web page ever created is still accessible. The reason is because they have used write semantic tag. So you also need to start writing semantic code. The folks who are from React background or Angular or Vue, I will say whatever you are writing, like in Angular and Vue, you write HTML, but in React, you write JSX. JSX also at the end of the day is your HTML. So you need to write correct HTML. You need to write semantic HTML, because your 80-90% of the job is already done if you're writing the semantic code for accessibility. You don't need to worry about what extra code you need to add or extra tags you need to write. For example, this is a button, this is a link, or this is a div. You cannot say unless and until you will not see the code. As of now, you will say this is a submit button, but for the screen reader, visual thing doesn't matter. For the keyboard, only the focusable tags are keyboard focus. So for them, again, this is going to be a tricky situation, because if you are using a div here, and by using the CSS, you are styling it like curved button, then your keyboard focus won't go here. So now as a developer, you need to write an extra code over that, which is obviously going to frustrate you, which is obviously going to add extra code in your code base, as well as the behavior of this particular div, which is acting like button. I don't know where it will get break for the accessibility. Screen reader users will never able to understand that this is a button, this is a submit button. But however, if you will use a correct tag here, which is button, and you will give correct type that this is submit, your keyboard accessibility will be done by default. You don't need to write extra code. Your screen reader will identify by itself. You don't need to do anything extra. And you will be always 100% confident that your code is not going to break. This is a one small example I have given you for the semantic. Trust me, go back, read HTML tags, understand their semantic importance, and just go back and revise your code accordingly, and you will see the magic of this semantic tag is going to add in your accessibility. So here is the code. You can see I have used the A tag for the submit, which is a link actually. But and to make this link to work like a submit button, I have to write a extra JS for that also. But if I'm just doing a submit, I'm using a write code, like on your left screen in the HTML panel, you can see line number 9, I have used the correct semantic tag there. So this is the right code to use for it. So this is the same thing. Screen readers user will have issue with non-semantic tags. Screen readers will not able to pick. If we are using div, non-focusable elements, keyboard support will give issue there. So that is going to be a second issue with the non-semantic tags. Now the next thing is, as a developer, make sure keyboard accessibility is working. First thing is, as I told you, use semantic tags. You don't need to worry about then of keyboard accessibility. How to do the testing of it? You need to throw away your mouse and do everything. Navigate, use your web page, use your application by only mouse, and then you will see what are the problems you are facing. Now, this is the example of Amazon. Amazon is the best example of how the accessible website should be. You can see this arrow, you can see this orange focus which is moving here and there. This is actually the keyboard. Through keyboard, I am trying to access the links, navigation, and everything. One thing here to note is when the keyboard focus is moving from one link to another, there is a very visible orange line is coming, border is coming. This is very useful. If you will not use any outline or focus outline, the user will never able to get to know that where the mouse focus is going. Where the keyboard focus is going. So you need to also focus on this. These two things are very simple, easy, but they are going to impact the accessibility of your application a lot. So focus should be visible. One more thing, never ever make outline none in CSS. This used to be a very big thing. People used to assume that this is a bug. Whenever they are focusing on a tag or any link, outline used to come. That outline used to actually guide keyboard user that where your keyboard focus is. People used to think it's a bug and they used to remove it by saying outline none in CSS. Please never do that. One more thing I would add here, the keyboard experience should be same as visual order. So as a user, as a person, if I'm looking at this slide, my focus is going on logo of Amazon, then on search, then I'm going to the navigation, hamburger navigation, and so on. So the journey of your whole journey of your application visually should be same as of your keyboard also. I spoke about semantic tags also. One more thing is avoid keyboard traps. This is a very common gotcha you will get into when you are working on complex modules. For example, if you have pop-up, if you have pop-ups, or you have a very long left navigation, in that case, you need to think about if a user keyboard focus is going in that, how you can make sure that that person can come out. So either introducing an escape key, or this is something which you as a developer or your designer needs to work together. But having said that, there would be the situation where you will get into the keyboard traps. So this is just one gotcha I wanted to call out so that you are aware of it. The third thing is alt text. We are living in the time where everything is full of images. If I will take the example of the e-commerce site, during the COVID, everything went digital. And if you want to buy sanitizer, tissues, gloves, anything, you need to go online and buy. So the example of Amazon was there in the previous slide because I wanted to show you that how beautifully they have handled the accessibility. The people who are keyboard users, when they were tapping, they can see where the focus is going. Similarly with the alt tags, if you are not having right alt tags, it is going to create a lot of trouble for the screen reader user. Because screen reader user cannot see anything, they are dependent upon the screen reader, whatever they are calling out. What screen reader do is whatever is there, they just read on the screen. And alt tag is basically the information that image is holding. Having said that, there are certain rules with the alt text. You cannot have the alt text for every image. So if you have a decorative image, presentational image, you can drop the alt text because it's not required for a screen reader. For a screen reader, you need to provide the information which is must for them to do some particular action. So in this case, if you can see, I have a screenshot again from Amazon. We have Savlon and Dettol. As a non-screen reader user, I can see, okay, this is Savlon, this is Dettol. I can read also. But now what happens if you have the alt tag of these images and screen reader will come on the right side of your screen? If there would be a alt tag, what the screen reader will do is it will read the information twice. How? First, it will read the alt tag of Savlon image, then it will read the heading of the Savlon, and it is going to be a frustrating experience. So you need to take a step back and think that should I put the alt tag here? Is it adding a value to the screen reader or not? In this case, you can drop the alt tag because your your heading of the product is getting picked by the screen reader. But if there is no heading, or what you can do is you can provide a detailed information in the alt tag. So like Savlon antiseptic disinfecting liquid, 1000 ml glass or plastic bottle, like this. So alt tags are very, very important for accessibility, especially during COVID time. Now just think how many scenarios you can think, like grocery shopping, medical shopping, so many things. Everything is online. People are not able to go to the stores in person. They are purchasing online, and if you don't have alt tag, proper alt tag, the folks would not be able to understand which product is this and how they can buy it. So alt tag can be left blank if it's a presentation or decorative image. There are different kind of image, like link image, decorative image, which I talk about, icons, normal image. Now with the icons, I will take 2 minutes to talk about it. You need to again ask yourself the question, is icon is adding any value for the screen reader users or not? Many times what I have seen, what designers do is they just use icons to pass the information, like emojis, or like the home icon, like the question bar to ask. If you will drop the alt tag of these icons, the screen reader user will never able to understand what is this. So it's better to look at the icon, think about what value it's setting, and according to that, put the proper alt tag there. Fourth thing is color contrast. This is a very interesting topic. When we say web for all means everyone, from a kid to an adult, from disabled to non-disabled, everyone fall under it. And color play very vital role in our web. Colors, being the people who are very creative, they play around with a lot of colors. But we need to make sure the readability of color is there. As example, in the starting, I gave you the example. If you have a black background and over that you have a gray, dark gray content, it is very hard to read that. So you need to think about when you are putting the colors in your application, when you are picking the colors for your application. The good thing is there are rules around it, as well as there are tools around it which can do the testing for you, that which is the right color contrast and which is not. Few example I would like to give here to make you understand that how it's impacting the life. So on the left side, you can see a map, a very beautiful metro map. Generally, what happened in metro or sub is that they tell you follow the red route, follow the blue route. But person who is having color blindness, or the person who has the problem of seeing the red color or so on, for that person, this map will look like what you can see on your right side. It is going to look like that, grayish. So for that person is going to lost that which I have to follow. So if you are following if you are putting a lot of information on the basis of the color, you are doing a very wrong job. Another example I would like to give to again connect you guys with what happened during pandemic. So forms, every website is having forms. If you take Amazon, if you take any grocery website or anything, at the end you need to fill a form for your address or card information. Now what happened is, most of the time designers say whenever there is error, that please correct the field mark in red. Now again the same problem, if a person having a suffering from color blindness, that person won't be able to see which field. Again, that person won't be able to fill the form. This is not just about the e-commerce website, even the education websites. I have seen there that the people follow this particular design pattern where they pass the information, when they use colors to pass the information, the state of that forms. Please don't do it. Never ever do it. If you will see on the screen at the bottom, I have marked that how it should be. You can use the colors, but also give the information like please correct the following errors, email ID and name. And what is required, you also need to be very descriptive. So avoid putting important information through colors. If you are doing it, please also provide the content of that. Now, talking about the rules, as per WCAG, these are the rules. If you are following single A, then the color contrast should be 3:1. For double A, it should be 4.5:1. You don't need to sweat yourself. For the designers, there are plugins available. They can run it. Their website, they can go there. They can put, or you can put your background and font color and font size and check if it is passing the color contrast or not. If you don't even want to do that, then for the people who don't like to do such extra work, Chrome has done a very beautiful job. In our debugger, if you will go and check the color of any text or anything, in the debugging, they will show you the color box. And when you click on it, it will also show you it's passing or failing the color contrast. So from there also, you can test all these things. Now, screen reader support. As I told you, the screen readers is the basically a guide for the folks who cannot see and they want to visit the web. The screen reader experience should be same as the non-screen reader user. I know it's very hard, but what you can do is you can think of a goal. For example, if it's an e-commerce site, that how the user journey would be. The person will come, search for a product, go to product listings page. From that, the user is going to pick a product. If it is having different variants, the person is going to select those variants and at the end add to cart and then check out. This is a whole user journey of your application. So as a web developer, as a designer, as a product manager, for a screen reader, you should understand this user journey and you need to make sure that this is exactly how the screen reader is behaving on your application. And it is very important to understand this. The reason is, I have seen in my experience, the important information which is available on your website, screen readers are not able to pick that. As a result, only the half-baked information is going to the screen reader user, which is a risk. So you need to provide the same behavior. Now the question comes is, after these 5 points and all these things, who is responsible for accessibility? I'm pretty sure you will say a web developer because I am talking from the web developer point of view. But the truth is, the responsibility is of entire team. A developer is there to only write the code. Unless and until that person will not get the right accessible design, that person won't be able to write accessible pages. That the developer can, from developer's point of view, they can write the semantic tag. But if the color contrast is wrong, if keyboard traps are there, if there's a module which is not at all accessible, developer can't do much of the work. So taking a step back, it's an entire team job, from designer, from product manager, even tester and content writer also. So how we can make accessibility part of our project? This is one of the most asked questions because a lot of people assume it is going to be a time-taken exercise. To be honest, if you are just starting your project, pick shift left approach. From the day one, start talking about accessibility. Start thinking about accessibility. If you are a product manager, talk about that how this particular module is going to, or feature is going to be accessible. Are there any issues? How we can fix that? If you are a project manager, think about the plans with respect of how the accessibility testing is going to happen. What are the tools we are going to use? What are the browsers we are going to use? As well as start thinking about the automation and the manual testing. I would say first take the advantage of the automated tools such as Chrome Lighthouse, X, Wave, free tools available like keyboards, voiceover. These all are free tools. You can just go ahead and start using it. Your team can just go ahead and using it. If your project is already in mid or going live, I would suggest you take small step, run these tools, do manual testing and understand all the issues of accessibility, make the priority and then start doing small fixes. Talking about the testing, uh, accessibility cannot be done by 100% automation. You need to combine both. You need to combine both strategy. For automation, there is Wave, there is X, there is Lighthouse Chrome. These all three are free. Chrome Lighthouse comes by default within the Chrome debugger. You don't need to install it. X and Wave, you need to install it. They will help you a lot. My favorite one is Lighthouse because when you run it, it will give you score as well as it will give you the issues with solution. So you don't need to go here and there and learn about all the issues and how to fix them. Google provide you all the solutions also. The good thing is Lighthouse use the X underneath. So as of if you are using Lighthouse, most of the X things you have already used it. But I suggest you run all three of these tools and please do the manual testing. Nothing can be replaced by the manual and user testing. But what we can do now? So as a user, as a developer, as a non-developer, as a non-tech person, start thinking about accessibility. Be vocal about accessibility. For example, this is a screenshot of the tweet when Twitter announced the voice tweets, where the person can just record their tweet and tweet it. But they haven't thought about the accessibility at that time. The whole community came together. They actually raised this point that you are not making Twitter for all. This is not at all done. As a result, what happened? They actually accepted it. They appreciated the feedback. They went back and they started fixing these accessibility issues. And guys, this is from last year. During the pandemic was at the peak. So you can think about that how important accessibility is. So what here I'm asking you or what here I'm suggesting you, it doesn't matter you are tech, you are non-tech, you are from which field or you are from altogether different field. Accessibility is not just limited to techie people. It's important for everyone. Wherever you see accessibility is breaking, please raise your voice. It's very important. So this is the summary of whatever I told you. Accessibility start from the designs. Design should be accessible. Semantic code is the key. Typography is very important. Color goes into that. One thing which I missed is AA. WCAG is the team behind accessibility guidelines. They told that AA is the minimum level of accessibility. In AA, they have lot of rules. You just need to follow that. If you are making any application related to government, it should meet AAA. One more thing is now, as of now, the version 2 is going on, but now they are also introducing version 3 of accessibility, which is going on, which is open for the feedback. So please go search for WCAG 3.0, and wherever you feel that improvement should happen, please give your feedback there. And also there is a world beyond desktop. A lot of people assume desktop is the only world, but thanks to, again, because of the pandemic, we realize that a lot of people are on mobile, a lot of people are on tabs. And at the last, do not forget manual and real user testing. These are the 3 resources I would request you to go and explore. The first is the official guide. Second is my own blog. And third is where I always go and want to understand in an informal language that what is a particular topic. At the last, I want to say accessibility is not a feature. Make sure the next feature product you are shipping is accessible and you are making web for all, not just for only for few privileged folks. So thank you for listening to me. It was a great pleasure to present this talk to all of you. One last reminder, keep washing your hands, keep 6 feet distance and keep wearing masks. We are still in the COVID situation. So thank you so much. If you have any questions or feedback, you can reach me on my Twitter. Thank you.